Good evening. Andrew Rossendale has defended his defection to Reform UK, arguing the right needs to work together to defeat Labour. The MP for Romford announced he was leaving the Conservatives last night, accusing the party of failing to rescue the country. In an interview with our political correspondent Simon Harris, the man who joined the Tories, inspired by Margaret Thatcher, denied he was betraying her memory. But in his constituency today, Mr Rossendale's voters weren't so sure.
Anyone passing Romford Conservative Club is left in no doubt about who's the poster boy. The building boasts 4 large pictures of a smiling Andrew Rossendale. But voters in the town woke up to the news that Rossendale had become the latest Conservative MP to defect to Reform.
We elected him as a Tory candidate, and I think he just can't change like that. I think they need to change the law. If an MP resigns, then he should really give up his seat.
I think he should have resigned as a Conservative member and then given the public their chance to vote whether they want Conservative or Reform in Romford.
I think we should have a by-election.
No vote, no by-election, sort it out.
It's just letting people down, really. His supporters are let down, really, isn't it?
Rossendale was welcomed into his new party by Reform UK's leader, Nigel Farage. He's the second Tory MP to jump ship in the space of 4 days. Andrew Rossendale has been the MP for Romford for 25 years. He's made no secret of his admiration for Margaret Thatcher, and his constituency office is named after her. In 2001, he persuaded the former Prime Minister to join him on a campaign visit to Romford Market. You were a big fan of Margaret Thatcher's. Have you betrayed her memory?
Definitely not. I stand for everything that she stood for, and I will continue to do so. Politics.
But she wouldn't have walked out on the Conservative Party.
She would have worked with anybody to do the best for our country. She was a patriot first and foremost, and I believe that she today would analyse this in the way that I've done.
Romford sits on the eastern fringe of Greater London. Many people here still regard themselves as part of Essex. A recent opinion poll suggested Reform would win the seat if there was a general election tomorrow. Ashley is a member of Romford Conservative Association and, like many Tories here, is aware of the changing mood of voters.
There is movement towards reform, as there is all over the country.
Do you suspect Andrew Rossendale has jumped ship because he feared losing his seat?
I think that may be a possibility. I wouldn't guarantee that, but I think that's a possibility. I think most people that are jumping ship, probably have that view, yeah.
Have you jumped ship because you knew you couldn't win your seat?
Not at all. I believe I would win the seat, as I have done for the last 7 elections.
The voters didn't get a say in it, but Romford now has London's first Reform MP.
So Simon, what does this mean for Andrew Rossendale's future with Romford then?
Well, Charlene, for now he is still the MP for Romford, but it's by no means clear that he will be Reform UK's candidate at the next general election. You would assume he has got some sort of promise about that, but when I asked him today, he suggested he would have to go through a formal selection process. What he has done, of course, is defect ahead of Nigel Farage's May the 7th deadline, so that might stand him in good stead. But you can easily, if you look at the numbers, you can see why he might think his chances are better with Reform. In 2019, in the general election which Boris Johnson won his landslide, Andrew Rossendale's majority in Romford was almost 18,000 votes. By the time of the last general election in 2024, his majority was down to below 1,500. And since then, the Tory poll rating has slumped even further.
OK, Simon, thanks very much. Good evening. After much deliberation, delay and argument, China has been given the go-ahead to build a new super embassy near the Tower of London. The government argued there are clear security advantages to having China's 7 diplomatic sites around London brought together in one location. But for those scared of the Chinese government, it is precisely that concentration of power that unnerves them. Here's our political correspondent, Simon Harris.
China's controversial new embassy has finally been given the green light. 8 years after Beijing bought the former Royal Mint near Tower Bridge, ministers have approved the plans. But Chloe Chung is horrified. She's a Hong Kong dissident living in East London and in constant fear of being abducted by China's security services.
In December 2024, the Hong Kong authorities placed a 1 million Hong Kong dollar bounty on my head. I have to look over my shoulder every day to see if anyone's following me. I have to change my pattern, change my routine. I can't be at the same place at the same time. I brought a lot of self-protection devices with me, for example, like AirTags, to trace my location.
Critics of the embassy plan believe it poses a threat to national security, not least because of the close proximity of cables carrying crucial data between the financial centres of Canary Wharf and the city, as well as millions of emails.
An extensive range of measures have been developed to protect national security. We have acted to increase the resilience of cables in the area through an extensive series of measures to protect sensitive data.
But the Conservatives said the government had capitulated to Beijing.
China can legally refuse to allow UK authorities to inspect the building during or after construction. So we're going to have no idea what they're actually building in there in any event.
Labour MPs are also alarmed by the embassy plan.
A development of this scale would cause significant disruption for local residents, especially in Royal Mint Court, who are now facing considerable uncertainty, including privacy concerns and fear of losing their homes.
Around 100 families live in flats adjoining the embassy site and on land now belonging to China.
Worst case scenario is probably they'd buy us all out, and if they do it on a compulsory purchase basis, you're not going to get anywhere near as much money as you can to go somewhere else.
Last weekend saw another large demonstration outside the site. The residents fear that when the embassy opens, it will attract even more protests. One reason why they hope they can challenge today's decision in the High Court.
Yes, this isn't the end of the saga, is it?
No, ever since their homes were sold to China, the residents of Royal Mint Court have been fighting the embassy plan, and they're in no mood to give up now. They've instructed a solicitor, who in turn has instructed a barrister, who's now going to examine the 240-page planning document to see if there are any grounds to challenge the decision with a judicial review. Now, one of the grounds that they think they might have is what's called predetermination. In other words, that the government wanted this embassy to be built and didn't approach it with an open mind.
OK, Simon, thanks very much.
Next tonight, Prince Harry became emotional in court today as he took to the witness stand in his case against the publisher of the Daily Mail and Mail on Sunday. He told the High Court, "They continue to come after me. They have made my wife's life an absolute misery." Well, the Prince and a group of claimants, including Baroness Doreen Lawrence, accuse the newspapers of getting stories illegally, something they strenuously deny. Our political correspondent Simon Harris has the latest.
Prince Harry is playing for high stakes. He's taken on arguably Britain's most powerful newspaper group, Associated Newspapers Limited. He claims 14 stories published by the Mail Group were based on information obtained unlawfully. Today he went into the witness box to give evidence. The Prince referred to a Daily Mail story in 2006 about his mother, Princess Diana, who was killed in a car crash in Paris in 1997. In his witness statement, he claimed it detailed his and Prince William's anger about the Italian media publishing a picture of her dying. The amount of information and detail in this article would not have come from Clarence House, he said. They were plainly listening into calls as well as spending large sums on private investigators. To do that is simply shameful, but to publish it I feel is beyond cruel and an abuse of journalistic privilege which I find extremely upsetting. In his witness statement, the Prince spoke about his relationship with Chelsea Davy. The couple were an item from 2004 until 2010, and he said he trusted her with the most private of information. The Prince argues information in stories about them could only have been obtained illegally. "We both knew not to share private information with anybody else, and there is no world in which we would have done so," he said in his statement. Yet both of us were sitting there going, the other must have told someone. In 2013, a story in the Daily Mail referred to another girlfriend, Cressida Bonas, and her plans to spend Christmas on Richard Branson's Caribbean island. The headline speaks to exactly how they wanted me to be. Lonely, miserable, depressed, he said. He described the article as creepy, adding, "It's a horrible existence for a young girl to be stalked like this. They probably tracked Cressida or blagged information about her flight and would have had her under surveillance like they did my other girlfriends." But the Prince was challenged by Associated Newspapers barrister Anthony White Casey, who said he didn't complain about the articles because you believed at the time that the articles were published, insofar as you saw them, that the information they contained came from legitimate sources. Harry told the court, "My social circles were not leaky. I want to make that absolutely clear." At the end of his evidence, the Prince appeared close to tears as he said Associated Newspapers had made his wife's life an absolute misery. Associated Newspapers denies any wrongdoing. And the case continues. Simon Harris, ITV News.